Let's talk to Wilson Leung. He's the Chief Market Strategist at TrendsetterFX in Hong Kong. Very good morning to you, Wilson.
Good morning, Nick.
Okay, you've kindly sent two charts, the Euro US dollar daily and the Euro US dollar weekly chart. Let's start with the daily chart. What are your observations?
Well, just very briefly, last time when I spoke that the euro was well below the 125 level, and I said that I was still bullish on the euro, but then do not overstay your long position once 125 level is reached. So we've been stuck in a broad 3 cents range roughly in the last 4 weeks. If I look at my chart, Nick, that euro had 125 and above on the daily basis in the last 1 month, but it just cannot stay there for too long because I think the market overall has been positioned long of the euro. So I think that we have seen a lot of profit taking place in the last few weeks,
right.
And it's going to be boring until we hear the testimony by the new Fed, Jerome Powell. But an hour and a half before that, that would be 1:30. They will release the text of his congressional testimony. I think that may give us some fireworks. But until then, it's a good time to have a break. So on the daily chart, you can see that there's a tug of war between the euro bulls and euro bears, and it looks like that the bears have the upper hand for the time being, and then because the price now is trading near the lower end of the range of 122 rather than 125.55 made in mid-February. My bias is neutral because there are two downside risks for the euro in the coming days. First would be the testimony, which would go away in 24 hours. But then looking ahead, we have the Sunday's pretty mixed Italian election, which I'm no expert on. So I would rather keep myself on a neutral position.
Yep.
From the technical standpoint, you can see that as long as we do not close on a weekly basis, that's very important from a technical standpoint. As long as we hold above this month's low at 122.06, I think the chart is still constructive for the euro to have another go at 125.55, the fresh 3-year high. Actually, that was made, if I remember correctly, on Chinese New Year's Day. And but bear in mind, if you look at the chart, for those who like to follow technical indicators, we have seen this very prominent bearish divergences at 125.55, especially on the MACD, because when euro hit the high early this year, well, not that early, in January at 125.38, the MACD made a new high. So I was still optimistic that the euro will move higher. But then at 125.55, you can see a prominent bearish divergence.
Yeah.
So I'm cautiously bullish as long as we do not close on a weekly basis below 122.06. We will have another attempt to the upside, but I think it's not going to run away from here. I think upside would be 126.50-60 in the first quarter of the year. So for those who are diehard Euro bulls, then you can buy the dips if Fed Chairman Powell sounds a little bit hawkish, then the market will test the downside. Maybe we have a quick blip down to 122. So if you're brave enough, I would be a buy there with a stop below 121.50, and then target at least for a move back up to 125 figure 10. So that's my take on the euro. But if we close below 122.06, maybe that's something happened on the Italian election, but the results will not be known until a Monday afternoon. So maybe that we'll see some bigger movement next Monday after the Italian election. Then the euro would go down because of massive long liquidation, but I'm just getting ahead of myself, so I will not speculate what's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's have a quick look at the weekly charts. Just give me a couple of headlines on this.
Right, weekly chart, you can see that we have divergence at 125.55, Nick. That means that we are getting close to a medium-term top. So I think that the last year's high, 120.93, to me is a pivot. As long as we do not trade below there on a weekly basis, 120.93, we will go to 126.50. But then after that, I would get up all my euro longs because I would be expecting a 5 to 6 cents downward correction on the euro. So cautiously bullish on the euro. Take your money and run when it goes to 126.50. So that's my take on the euro, Nick.
Wilson, thank you very much indeed for taking time out. That's Wilson Leung from TrendsetterFX.